Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here. Welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup, off-season 2019 transfer roundup. So, it's been a little while since we did a transfer roundup. I wanted to give some time for some transfers to gather round, because obviously I want content to give to you guys. We can't just do a 2-minute video saying, well, this person signed for this person, that's all we know. So, we've got a lot to talk about in this one. This was not the video that was meant to go out today, I'm not going to lie, but I haven't quite got what I needed to get ready for that video yet. Technical issues have got in the way, but without further ado, let's get into the transfers for this roundup. And we start off with Bumper. Now, last time we talked about Fisher joining the Vancouver Titans, and we thought that it was pretty inevitable that Bumper was going to leave the Vancouver Titans, and that has happened. We don't know what his destination is. All we know is that Bumper is now free to join whatever team he wants to join, and we will see where that leads him. But sticking with the Vancouver Titans, and this is a transfer we've been rumoured for a long time, is Rouge Hong. Rouge Hong has moved from the Seoul Dynasty to the Vancouver Titans. This is a very interesting one. Rouge Hong obviously is such an ambassador for Overwatch. It's great to see him sticking in the league with the Vancouver Titans. And honestly, this is probably his best shot at winning the league. I'm not going to lie, it's probably his last shot as well. So Vancouver, it's a good signing, and I think it's a really good team signing, if you see what I mean. I think he's going to be a real good leader within that team, and a very good example to set some of the younger players on that Vancouver Titans roster. I don't think the moves for the Vancouver Titans are finished here, but Rouge Hong is a good signing, and it's great to see him sticking in the league because, man, this guy is an absolute... He's pretty much the daddy of Overwatch esports, isn't he? Let's be honest. Rouge Hong. Now, moving on to the Shanghai Dragons. We have a few moves here in the back room. We have two coaches coming in for the Shanghai Dragons, if I could spit it out properly. We have Dong Soo, who is a South Korean coach. Originally, he was with the LA Valiant earlier this year. He is now with the Shanghai Dragons. And a name you might recognise, Jay Field has come in. Jay Field was with the London Spitfire since they were created, and he was with Cloud9 Kongdu and Kongdu Panthera before that. He obviously oversaw the Overwatch League inaugural season win for the London Spitfire, but he also oversaw the London Spitfire not living up to expectations, you can say, in the 2019 season of the Overwatch League. So Jay Field has a lot of experience, and it's a good pickup for Shanghai Dragons, I do think. Now, going the other way for the Shanghai Dragons, they have let their operations director, Michael, leave with no destination to go to. So, wherever he goes, I wish him the best of luck. Then we move on to the NYXL. Now, NYXL have made a few moves in this one, so they'll be cropping up every now and then. This is Why Not. He is coming in as a coach for the NYXL. He is moving from the Seoul Dynasty. It's an interesting one. Again, he was with O2 Ardian before he was with Seoul Dynasty. He has a decent track record, but nothing I would say that's outstanding. So it's one that caught me off guard. It's a left wing pick, but again, you have multiple coaches on a roster, so it's no surprise that perhaps New York Excelsior have gone for Why Not as one of their coaches, and it's not the only coach they've signed. So let's move on from that. Next up, we are moving up the list. We get to see the Paris Eternal in action again. Now, I did cover this one the other day with the Paris Eternal, and this is Smex. This is the United Kingdom off-tank player. He is moving from the Montreal Rebellion, who are the academy team of the Toronto Defiant in NA Contenders. He is moving to the Paris Eternal. Now, it's an interesting move, considering I would have thought their first pick in the off-tank position will be Hanbin in the future. But Smex is a very, very good off-tank player, and he really deserves a shot at the Overwatch League. He's been waiting for a while now, and he's put in constant good displays for Team United Kingdom and during his time in Contenders as well. Paris Eternal, I see this as a partner for Bembest more than anything, because I think Hanbin will be paired with No Smite. Smex will obviously come in and cover for Hanbin at the start of the season as well, because Hanbin won't be eligible because he'll be too young. But it's only very, very early. So It's an interesting one. Perhaps I didn't expect it for the Paris Eternal, but again, he should have really, really good link up with Cruz and the likes and the rest of the Europeans on that roster because he will know them very well. So I'm not going to say it's a bad pickup for Paris Eternal. It's just one that caught me off guard. That's what I will say. So moving on, and we are back to the New York Excelsior once again, and this is a DPS pickup, and this is in reaction to something we will get onto in a minute, I expect, as well. So NYXL have picked up Who Are You, and he was with Sky Foxes and Fusion University and Meta Anthena before this. He's kind of been inactive on the Fusion University, he was then on loan at Sky Foxes, it's kind of all over the place. But Who Are You has a really, really good history with Fusion University. If you know anything about NA contenders when Fusion University were in it, they dominated. They just dominated that, and then they went to Korea. They did okay, but they couldn't keep up with the likes of Runaway and O2 Blast and the likes. But he's a really, really, really good 18-year-old DPS player. He can do the Genji, the Tracer, the Doomfist, the Pharah. He's very flexible. This is a really good pickup for the NYXL, and they have shipped out a few, so I'm expecting NYXL to bring in perhaps one or two more, maybe, but there's some really good pickups going on for the NYXL at the moment, and Who Are You should be just the latest of these really, really good pickups for New York. Moving on, and we have a bit of a mess at the LA Gladiators, so long story short, the contenders team for the LA Gladiators, the Gladiators Legion, has been disbanded. So they've released all of their players. This had a knock-on effect to the LA Gladiators main team as they released Panka. Panka was a tank player for the LA Gladiators. He was two-way with the Gladiators Legion. He was a main tank. He played the Wrecking Ball, Winston and Reinhardt. So he has not just been signed to the Gladiators main team, he's just been let go. So the Gladiators no longer have any two-way players because they don't have an academy team in NA contenders. To offset this, the Gladiators have signed another tank. This is a tank you will recognise. It's the European Finnish tank LH Cloudy, who was playing for the Paris Eternal last year. Paris Eternal didn't have the massive best of years, whatever, but LH Cloudy I'm almost certain will be a backup for the LA Gladiators. I don't expect him to be starting all that much. I think it's a good pickup, and to be quite honest, if you come from Finland, you really must be an LA Gladiators fan right now, considering the amount of Finnish players on the LA Gladiators roster. But LH Cloudy, it's a solid pickup. It's just not a massive pickup. I'm just expecting it to be a backup for the LA Gladiators here and not a main starter. Moving on, and we have a really interesting move that caught me off guard. And this is at the Washington Justice, and this is a coach. So they have signed a coach. It's Banny. Now, if you remember rightly, Banny was released from the Houston Outlaws earlier in the transfer window, and we didn't really know what was going on with Banny. We know he's 26 now, so perhaps he wanted to move on, and this is the indication, and the theme towards the end of this video is going to be players retiring and moving on, so be prepared for that. Banny will not be a player next season, he will be an individual coach for the Washington Justice, and I think this is actually a pretty interesting move. Banny has a lot of experience, he has a lot of Overwatch World Cup experience, a lot of Overwatch League experience, and I think he will really do well with the Washington Justice in a coaching role. And, to be honest, you're very lucky if you can just step straight into the Overwatch League as a coach. So, that's really, really good for Banny, and I can't wait to see what he does at the Washington Justice as a coach. It's a great, great step for him, and I wish him all the best. Moving on, and we have a coaching change at the Dallas Fuel. There's been a few coaching changes at the Dallas Fuel recently, and this is Damon. He'll be leaving the Dallas Fuel. He's not going to anyone else, he's just leaving the Dallas Fuel. And yeah, still not enamoured with Dallas Fuel. The player signings with the Dallas Fuel have been alright, but I'm still not confident enough to put any backing behind the Dallas Fuel, because we never know what they're going to come up with. So, now we rotate back to the New York Excelsior. Now, this is a player manager change. The player manager that New York Excelsior had, who was Andrew, he's moved to the LA Gladiators as a player manager, so I'm assuming NYXL will want to fill that role. But then we come to the big news, and I think perhaps we'd been expecting this for a while. It's Pine. It's the big boss. He has retired. He will be becoming a streamer for the NYXL. He will no longer play in the Overwatch League. I'm not entirely surprised by this. We didn't see Pine last season all that much. Well, pretty much we didn't see him entirely. And it's a great shame. We all remember Pine on Ilios in the inaugural season. He was a goddamn god. And honestly, he'll be a great miss. He was a great personality. And I can't wait to see what he does with his streaming career. He was a streamer before the NYXL, I believe. So Pine is great at what he does. And I hope he does really, really well streaming. Because, man, he was such a good player. Such a good player. And he will be a great loss to the league. And talking of losses to the league, we have another retirement. And I have been predicting this one going back to the World Cup. It's Jake. Jake has retired from the Houston Outlaws. And I am honestly not surprised about this. When you looked at the transfers that the Houston Outlaws have been making, you kind of expected there's going to be some sort of DPS shift here for the Houston Outlaws. And one of those people is Jake. And Jake, he's been making moves of recent times in the past couple of years. He's been doing casting for the Overwatch World Cup. And I think he's probably going to go into doing that more full time now. He'll probably become a contenders caster or something. Unless he gets an opportunity to do it in the league. Obviously, I don't know what the league structure for their talent is right now. But it's a shame. And we all know Jake from his Junkrat in the inaugural season. The Jakerat goes down in history. It always does. He is the living meme Jakerat. And again, he'll be one of those players that was just a hit in the inaugural season. One of the first hits in the inaugural season. He won't be forgotten. He definitely won't be forgotten in the Overwatch League for a very long time. Whenever we talk about Junkrat, we'll always be talking about the Jakerat. And we'll always be getting the Jake lols out and all that. So, Jake has retired, and I wish him all the best, assuming he goes into casting, which is, I'm assuming is what he's going to do. He might go into coaching. And that would be also very, very awesome. So, that rounds us off for the roundup for this one. There's a lot of retirements, with Jake, with Pine, with Banny. There's a lot of retirements going on, and it's a shame. It's a shame, but time moves on, and all these players, they can't stick around forever. New blood has to come in, and some of these we could have predicted, like Pine and Jake. I think we could have predicted well back into last season that they perhaps were going to move on and call it a day in the Overwatch League and move on to different and perhaps brighter things. But I'm going to leave it here for this one. There's a really cool video coming out tomorrow about the community on this channel. Thank you for all the recent subs as well. It's been ridiculously good. And I can't thank you enough for all the support that's been going on recently. And I want to give something back, and hopefully tomorrow I can give that back to you if it's ready. So, I'm going to leave it here for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.